this video we're going to use a different formula. It's called growing annuity, but here's just the formula. You don't have to worry about exactly where it comes from. So cash flow is going to be $1,000. I want that to grow at 5% every year. So what I'll do is say is equal to this, the initial payment of $1,000. I want that to grow. So that times 1 plus, I'm going to do this wrong, I'm just going to hit that growth rate, and that grows at 5%, and then I'm just going to copy this over. But if I copy that over, what mistake have I made? So double click here, I didn't lock down the cell appropriately. So what I want to do is lock down that cell, and it's easy enough just to lock down both of them, but I only really need to lock down the column. So I only put the dollar sign in front of the C just to show you that's all I need. But in reality, you wouldn't take the time to do that. You just lock down the thing all the way. So now it's growing at 5%, at least we hope. I'll come back and check that a little bit later. And then I'm going to have the present value of each one of these. So this is going to be equal to the cash flow. And again, you don't have to know the formula of that. Divided by 1 plus the discount rate, F4, raised to this power. And again, I don't care if you understand the formula or not. It's just that's the formula I want to put in, right? So I want to keep the discount rate the same. So I use, I'll lock that down and just copy this across. And then I want to sum this row up. So my price is going to be the sum of this row. So how do I do that? Just Alt equal. Excel guessed wrong. That's fine. I use the arrow keys to move around. Press a period because I want to lock it down. And note what I did there. I want you to look at this. So Alt equal, and see it just has a sum of D4. When I press the period, let me do that again. I pressed the wrong button on my laptop. Alt equal, I go around, right here I press the period, and the other D4 shows up. And then I just control over and enter. And that's the sum. I have that in bold because that's going to be my answer. And depending on what I want to do for presentation, maybe I want to put that in a green or something. That's, again, because that's the number I want to look at. Presentation is important. I want to use color. I don't want to use too much color. So it's always an artistic kind of thing I want to worry about. And here I've already bolded these. Let me unbold them. The fastest way to bold this, I won't put these in as inputs in blue. So the fastest way to do that, I just choose the blue that I want. And then to bold it, Control B. I've already chosen those to be blue. Bold, Control B. And then if I want to highlight both of those, I can just hold Shift and move the arrow key to highlight all the cells I want. Control B. And that's in bold. And maybe you want a slightly different color. Maybe you want that a little bit darker. Again, your choice of what you want to have. But that just means these are the inputs, and these are formulas with no input. Alright, so for the data table, I'm going to have my different percentages for the discount rates going across the top, and the cash flows going down the side. It could be the other way around, doesn't matter. For a data table, I'll put the price function, and whatever function I'm using, I reference that. So as I change that 10% to 12, what happens? The number changes, right? If I change this payment from 1,000 to 1,500, that number changes. So these two inputs change that number. So is the third one here, the growth rate, but I can only do 2 at a time. I only have 2 dimensions of this. So I'm going to make an intentional mistake here. I'm going to reference this discount rate of 10%. And I'm going to say equal to that plus 0.02. Notice I've already put this in percentage form, so that's the way I want to do it. And then this is equal to that 10% minus 0.02. Copy that across. Again, you wouldn't. I'm going to show you the way to do this right, and I'm doing it wrong on purpose because this is kind of a big deal, actually. Alright, so I have this formatted incorrectly. Let me change the formatting of this. Alright, so I have 1,000 here reference to this payment, and just say equal to this minus, let's say 200. I got all these probably wrong, so what I need to do is go back into here. Alright, so some formatting issues. So this is going to be equal to 1,000 minus 200, and this is going to be equal to 1,000 plus 200. And let me copy this up. Alright, so now I have my data table ready. I highlight all of this. I come in here to Data, What If Analysis, Data Table. And think about how a data table works. I have my row input, the percentage, so the percentage, the discount rate that changes all this is referenced right there. That's in my row. These numbers are in the column. Those are my payments. Click OK. And let me format all this so we can read it better. And I want to get that back to percentage. Didn't mean to change that. Okay, so at 10% $1,000, 10% $1,000, that's not even close to what it should be. So what's wrong? And this is something that you would never notice because you can't do this math in your head. The problem is that this 10% reference the 10% that goes into this formula. So what you need to have is you have a start value here. I want to say this is equal to my start value, and then equal to this plus my increment, F4, which doesn't change, and then I copy this across. Same thing with my cash flows. The start value here equal to that plus the increment here, F4. Copy this down, and now I want to make this look good so we can look at it real quick. Get this. Get this. I have some formatting in here. Let me clear this formatting from something I did previously. So the conditional formatting, I'll clear everything from the sheet. So here it is. Now does this number make sense? That matches what it should be. If I change this to 8%, that matches this number. So I feel like all these match. I can change this start value to 6. So in order to have these numbers, and this is important, I either type these numbers in by hand, or I reference to a start value and an increment. I reference to something importantly that these numbers are just typed in. They don't have any reference to any cell anywhere. So that way these numbers are right. Alright, so when I referenced this, it made those numbers wrong. Sometimes they come out to be right, sometimes they don't. It's a little bit of a flaw in how Excel is set up. So just make sure that you have this done, the start value and the increments for the data table, and that allows me to change the numbers here very quickly. And again, with the conditional formatting, I can do conditional formatting in different ways. I'm going to do highlight anything greater than. I can either pick a number, like 10,000, or I can pick a cell reference. Can't pick both. Or I can pick a cell reference, and usually the best way is to do the cell reference, and because this is kind of your base case. Another way you could do this is you could do a number like a cell reference to right here, and so let me put a number in here. I'm going to call this my target, and my target, let's say, is 10,500. So I'm looking at these numbers, and anything above 10,500 is good for whatever reason. So highlight cell rules. Anything above this target is good, so I'm going to make this green. Alright. Anything below that target is bad, so I'm going to make it red. Make sure we reference that. And anything that is equal to that target, which you rarely get an equal to, because they're kind of to randomly come out to that, is going to be yellow. And there's no yellow because it doesn't come out to that exactly. So now I can look at this and say red's good, red's bad, green is good. And really that's it for the conditional formatting. Of course, if I change that number, we change it to something big like 15,000, you can see how some of that changes. Down to 6,000, 60,000, 6,000, it's all green, almost. So you can look at, don't make a buy sell decision based on that number. So that's conditional formatting and just doing some more formulas.